I'm honestly exhausted.
Fully let God take charge over, why that was so pervasive.
So devastating.
Yeah.
And I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was like...
I mean, this is as good-natured as any of the other jokes that are written in the show.
Jonathan Roumie might be the actor who brought us the greatest portrayal of Jesus of all time. But this does not necessarily mean that he does this easily. In fact, portraying Jesus puts a lot of weight on him. And according to Jonathan, at times, things can become very overwhelming, to the point of impacting his mental health.
I just felt completely out of my element for that scene, because all of a sudden now I'm saying these words that Jesus said to these people that are like looking at me, and I'm there, and I'm like, what am I doing here?
We all know that The Chosen has transformed Jonathan's life. However, so far, we all assume that it was all for the good. After all, he was extremely struggling before landing the role in The Chosen. In an interview with The Wrap, he said, "I was broke, I was out of food, I was desperate, and I had no options. All I could do was surrender my circumstances, my career, my life, my finances, and everything over to God. 3 months later, I booked The Chosen. My life's never been the same since, and so I give all credit to God's impact in my life."
I still wasn't, making a living as an actor, but I was supporting myself at that point a little better than I was by the time my deeper conversion happened, which was about 4.5 years later.
Wow.
So I wasn't completely broke yet,
Okay.
but I was just getting to know the LA scene, trying to meet casting directors. I was booking some TV shows. I think I did an episode of Castle and Parenthood, and right around that time, and doing a lot of voiceover work, which was kind of my mainstay, but I was also, balancing out with other jobs.
In another interview, he touched upon the subject once again, highlighting how much he believes the divine intervention enabled him to be cast in The Chosen. "I needed a job. That's what it comes down to. I was at the brokest I've been in my entire life. I was out of food and everything. I got to praying and surrendered everything to God. 3 months later, I got the show, and it's changed my life."
Completely surrender my own will of what I wanted for my life, my concept of what my career should look like, specifically my career, and fully let God take charge over, what my future would look like.
I mean, this is amazing, for sure. But the further we go deep into Jonathan's interviews, the more we can realize how much the role has taken a toll on his mental health. In a recent interview, Roumie revealed that during the filming of The Chosen Season 5, he got impacted by the Judas's storyline so much that he basically had a physical reaction to it.
I was depressed for most of the time we were filming it. Wow. And I think it was on set, people didn't know how to react to me. I kind of felt it was like I was just shut down to everybody, which is great for the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm also home. I also pray that everybody fully understands what that was and why that was so pervasive.
So devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot even imagine how hard it is to play Jesus. And on top of that, even though he has been playing this part for years, as the story gets deeper, the darker plot lines enter and things get even harder for Jonathan. So, I'm not surprised the storyline with Judas impacted Jonathan this much. We also know that he is already a very religious person. So, when he plays these scenes, he feels them to his core. That's why his mental health gets hit so hard by all these. Overall, it seems like Season 5 has been the most emotionally challenging season for Jonathan to play in so far. During an interview with Pints with Aquinas, Roumie was asked how he felt filming Season 5 of The Chosen, and this is how he has answered.
But when I last left my house before I started filming in Utah in April, I took a look around and I thought, the next time I see this place, I will have completed the Last Supper in the Garden of Gethsemane. And I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was like, sorry. Because that means the journey's almost over.
In a recent interview, Jonathan said that this problem arises from the fact that even though he knows how to portray a human, he does not know how to be divine. And that's where things get complicated for him when playing Jesus. None of us know what it's like to be divine. We do know what it's like to be human. So the thing that I do is bring the utmost of my humanity to the role as Jesus, and then let the Lord and the Holy Spirit sort out the divinity aspects of it.
Be divine. We do know what it's like to be human. So the thing that I do is to bring the utmost of my humanity to the role as Jesus, and then let the Lord and the Holy Spirit sort out the divinity aspects of it.
Plus, since he is a very religious man, he always thinks behind his mind what Jesus would think of his portrayal of him. I mean, can you imagine constantly hearing Jesus' voice in your hand, hoping that you are not letting him down with your portrayal of him? I certainly cannot. Recently, Jonathan gave an interview with Canadian TV personality Sangeeta Patel. During that interview, when Patel asked, "What would you want to ask to Jesus when you met with him?" Well, Roumie's answer brought both parties to tears.
Yeah. If you were to have a cup of coffee with Jesus, what's that one question you would ask?
How did I do?
Wow.
Did I get it close?
Wow. That's good. That's really good. Now, some of the... You got me.
Yeah, me too. It's a good question.
Going on.
We should also remember this iconic interview.
Like, I think he'd appreciate it, and I think he would think it's funny. Right. And if I didn't, or if I thought it was offensive or in some way harmful to his image, like, I wouldn't do it. But to me, I mean, this is as good-natured as any of the other jokes that are written in the show.
I mean, it is clear that Jonathan gets quite overwhelmed with the role at times, finding it challenging to handle. And yes, his mental health struggles quite a bit, even though he is very grateful for the part.
The most difficult 2 weeks of my career, and spiritually, like, I think there was a lot of anxiety. Like, you know, Robert Powell, who played Jesus in Jesus of Nazareth, in an interview, somebody, you know, asked him the similar kinds of questions, like, what's it like to play Jesus, basically? And he's like, he's unplayable. You can't play Jesus. He's unplayable. Meaning, like, how do you wrap your mind around Jesus Christ? Divinity, humanity, you know, hypostatic union, is that right? Mm-hmm. And so I can't even begin to think about, well, I know what it's like to play divinity. I don't. I only know what it's like to be human, and woefully so, and failingly so, and so all I can do is bring the utmost of my humanity and my intention to and desire to serve Christ and to honor him and to get out of the way of the Holy Spirit and try to understand through the help of the Holy Spirit and to ask Jesus, what did you experience here? What did you experience sitting at this table? And there's John, and perhaps here's Judas. Like, what was that like? What's going on in the pit of his stomach, knowing what's coming as a person, as a human? Like, did he have butterflies? Was he, every time he looked at him, did he want to cry? Did he want, like...
I mean, how couldn't he feel overwhelmed? In his The View appearance, Jonathan expressed that some people confuse him with Jesus. Like, can you believe this?
Occasionally, the line seems a little blurred. So I try to gently just remind people that my name is Jonathan and not actually Jesus.
You can't hear their confession.
Some people even attempt to confess their sins to him as if he is a pastor.
Confession,
I've had people try. I'm like, nope, save it for the priest. He's the professional.
I need to rely on people to remind me of the last several years because they've been so insane. Jonathan also said on the Pints with Aquinas podcast, "It's been so overwhelming at times, and I've met so many people, and I've shown up so many places, and I kind of have relegated a lot of the experiences. I don't know about you guys, but I get overwhelmed even preparing these videos. I cannot imagine being in Jonathan's shoes. Would you want to portray Jesus in a project? Or do you think it is just too much? Let me know in the comments below. So, how does he prepare for the role? How is he dealing with all this?
What do you do to get yourself in the headspace of literally God?
Well, I can't do that because I'm not that. And so I don't even attempt that. What I can do is approach Jesus from his humanity, being human, fully and flawed human that I am. His perfection of humanity is not something I can touch, but the struggle with the realities of humanity and the what it means to be living as a human in this world and dealing with fear and loneliness and isolation and pain and joy and mirth and suffering and sorrow. Like I can identify with most of his humanity. I think his humanity was an emotionally intense experience, like the most. I guess if we experience emotions on a level from like 1 to 10, like he would experience them at like 100, you know, and.
Well, his answer is simple. Prayer. It's the first thing I do. Lots and lots of prayer before every season, before every scene, and before every take. I'm always doing a silent prayer to myself and praying for guidance, that God will allow his voice to be heard through mine and his words to be felt through the ones I've been given to say in the script, and for everything else that happens as a result of the show.
For me personally, to reveal the level of surrender that I've had to undertake in my life in order for, I think, my career to sort of shift into a meaningful position. And having done so, God has just opened up all these other doors and these experiences.
For more content on Jonathan Roumie and The Chosen, make sure to like and follow. Watch the video on the screen to see what will happen in The Chosen Season 5.